Let's take a closer look at the nasal bones and the surrounding nasal region, a part of the skull that's often overlooked, yet vital for both structure and function. We're viewing the skull from the anterior or front perspective. Before we focus on the nasal bones themselves, it's important to understand the key surrounding structures, since the nasal region doesn't exist in isolation. At the top, we have the frontal bone, forming the forehead. On either side are the right and left zygomatic bones, the cheekbones. Beneath these lie the maxilla, which forms the upper jaw, and the mandible, the lower jawbone. Now focusing on the nasal region. At the center are the paired nasal bones. These are small but essential. They articulate with each other at the midline, and where they meet the frontal bone above, they form the frontonasal suture. A quick reminder. In anatomy, a suture is a type of immovable joint where skull bones meet. You can think of it as a seam that locks the bones together. At the midpoint of the frontonasal suture is a notable landmark, the nasion, a small dip just above the bridge of the nose, easily felt on your own face. Each maxilla extends upward with a projection called the frontal process. In anatomical terms, a process refers to a bony projection, usually where muscles attach or where bones articulate. Each nasal bone connects laterally with the frontal process of the maxilla, helping to shape the upper part of the nose. Another key structure in this region is the piriform aperture, the large pear-shaped opening that forms the anterior entry to the nasal cavity. It's bordered superiorly by the nasal bones and laterally and inferiorly by the maxillae. Inside this aperture, running down the center, is the nasal crest, a fused bony ridge that contributes to the nasal septum. The nasal septum itself divides the nasal cavity into left and right halves. The nasal crest forms the lower part of this bony septum. Lastly, at the base of the nasal cavity is the anterior nasal spine, a small, pointed projection that provides support to the nasal cartilages.